Hello, hello.
Hello, Nick. Always a pleasure to see you, young man.
And you as well, John. How's it been?
Outstanding. I know I've never mentioned that I'm retiring in 20, 26 days.
Nice.
Not
Nice.
dwelling on it incessantly.
You, you have do you have a timer, an app a ticker that shows you the days, hours, minutes, seconds as it just ticks down or what?
No, but I do. I think of myself as seeing 80 patients a month, and I'm taking 2 days off this, or maybe three. And so that would get me down to 68, and I've seen eight so far this month. So I'm down to 60 more patients to
Oh,
visit.
okay.
That's my little countdown.
Well, and we're only 2 days into the actual two business days. I don't know how that plays out with the days you work, but 2 business days so far this month. So hey,
Exactly.
that's pretty that's pretty solid work.
Absolutely. Got to do it. How are you, young man?
I'm good. I'm good. Just moving from one busyness of school and kids, sports in the spring and activities to looking forward to starting family trips and visiting some family in California this week. And kids have one more week
Let
of
me see. Let me
class.
see. I'm going to use my psychic
Ha!
capacity to say you're going to San Francisco for your nephew's graduation.
Yeah, yeah, pretty good. Pretty good. Yeah.
Not that a little talk in the green room revealed anything.
Right. Yeah. Yep. They are in the Bay Area there. And it'll be nice. Although I guess we're finally getting summer like weather here in the beautiful Northwest. And I'll be down there where it's going to be even more summer like weather. And I guess there's already wildfires there, so that's really just too bad. So yeah, but we will make the most of every minute.
Make the most of every minute and don't come back with your pants on fire.
Yeah. Yeah. So, well, yeah, good life happening. I guess that's what I can say is, celebrating different changing of the seasons. Some bigger than others. Yours being pretty big for you. So,
Yeah, and Mary and I've had went to two events in the last 2 weeks. One was her. Uh, I guess it's my also. What would that be? Great niece? Yeah, I think that's what she
okay.
is. Turned one, and
Oh,
at the same time that her uncle, Mary's nephew, I guess he's also my nephew now, um, was celebrating graduating from grad school,
oh,
and then this past week we celebrated the 1 year anniversary of a couple being married.
oh, that's
My niece,
exciting.
my niece, yeah,
Yeah.
who's she's a acupuncturist
Oh, fun.
who also got a degree in nursing. So
Okay.
she's doing oncology clinic in inner city Denver, which made me want to go out there and work outside of the fact that I'm retiring. But uh, she's doing that, so
Yeah.
I think it's really cool. So like when you mentioned life goes on and life unfolds, it made me think of those three events.
Yeah. Yeah. Big stuff. Big steps.
Yeah,
Um, what an interesting idea going from nursing to acupuncture. I mean,
yeah. She actually went from acupuncture to nursing.
oh, okay.
She did the acupuncture first, but she's gonna utilize them both in this inner city oncology clinic, which is really exciting.
That'll be it.
Yeah,
Yeah. Heck yeah.
yeah,
That's cool.
one hundred
Yeah.
percent.
Kind of a interesting crossing of disciplines. But I always admire when people bring in this idea of, I mean, you think holistic, but I don't know, that's kind of a weird word people throw around, but um, what's the word? Different treatment modalities, the alternative medicine, and now it's more integrated medicine is what they're and
Exactly.
functional medicine, integrated
Yes.
functional medicine. So
Isn't that
uh,
beautiful?
yeah, I think that's the way forward as we think about populations and health. I realize I forgot to shut my office door here, and there's a laundry room down the hall. So just in case we're picking up any noise, I'm going to shut that real quick.
Okay.
All right.
Are you hearing a lawnmower coming through my window?
Um, I did hear a little bit of a lawnmower. I wasn't sure if it was like my cell phone near a speaker or something, a microphone or something.
I'll close it. I'll
Nah,
close my
you're okay.
window.
It's real subtle. It doesn't. It's not too bothersome. I don't think. So.
They're mowing the lawn next door. All right. So anyway, this week, want to get on to our podcast?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do it.
Absolutely. So I'll tell you how I envision this, Nick.
Okay.
Um, what my strategic planning is. Not that strategic, but we have just completed 3 or 4 sessions about grief based on things that I talked about, modalities, I guess you want to say.
Yeah.
I've come up with the idea of a garden with different seeds of healing.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we've been talking about for
Right.
as many sessions as we've had. And next time we meet, we're going to begin to wade into what I envision to be the meat of this podcast, which is talking about what other people have called the meta crisis
Okay.
and how to navigate it, how to respond to it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll just say a quick, and that's next time. We're
Okay.
having sort of what you could call a transitional
Yeah.
session today. But I want to describe the meta crisis as a teaser for next
Okay.
time. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Good, good. Um, it's people talk about climate change,
Mm-hmm.
and climate change is actually one of 7 planetary emergencies which could happen. There's 7 primary indices of planetary health, and if we cross one into the danger zone, humanity's survival is threatened.
Right.
We have now crossed into the danger zone on 5 of those 7.
Oh.
All 5 can be reversed
Mm.
so that we can bring it back into safety. But at the same time that that's happening, we have Putin, the head of China, Z, is it?
Yeah.
Trump's trying to regain power. There's a Marine Le Pen in France. There is Orban. I think that's the guy in Hungary. And there's other dictatorial type people rising to power or trying to rise to power. And
Mm-hmm.
none of them are friends to the environment. None of them are friends to the Paris climate accords or anything like that.
Right.
So that's part of the meta crisis, but there's also a dissolution of consensus about what reality is.
Ah.
You know, for instance, the pandemic. I had a couple acquaintances, not a ton, but a couple who unfriended me on Facebook because I believed that there was a pandemic happening.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, "No, it's not a pandemic. That's just the far lefters called it the what they call it legacy media. That's just the legacy media talking, and the far righters call it the fake news.
Right.
And so people are saying, you know, basically crucify Dr. Fauci.
Mm-hmm.
And this the pandemic, the inability to agree that there was a pandemic
Right.
and that it was killing people and that a vaccine could help us. I'm sure you were in the thick of that
Yeah.
in your career as a nurse.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah. Um, and it's the pandemic, but it's across the board. You can make up a lie, and if you state it enough times, a lot of people believe it.
Yeah.
Nancy Pelosi was responsible for January 6th.
Right. Yeah.
uh, so there's a breakdown of trust. There's a breakdown of consensus about what reality is, while we're in the midst of um, climate and six other possible catastrophes.
Yeah.
Oof. It's a
Yeah.
it's a it's a heavy world,
It
Nick.
is. Yeah.
Hmm.
And I
That's what
think
we're going to be talking about for a long time.
yeah.
The roots of it and how to contend with it.
Mm-hmm.
Good thing I'm retiring. Have I mentioned that I'm retiring?
Yeah. Yeah.
Good thing
No,
that I'm
plenty of
retiring
time.
because it's going to require a lot of time. I don't have the time to
Right.
devote proper amount of time to this. I will soon.
Yeah.
So
And if I recall, when we first met and you talked about some of your passions, and you had started you'd had a social media presence, and your idea for the Brambled Path was also in relation to a bit of blog I believe you had done, even back of even what 10 years ago I think is some
oh
of the
yeah, yeah, yeah.
earlier parts of work where you were really talking about the beginnings of these feelings and this call and investigation into the crises that are just continuing to snowball and develop. Um, so yeah, it sounds like this has been um, a long-standing interest, concern, um, and call to a calling for you that clearly the work of hospice chaplain and bereavement and grief work was a calling as well. And now with retirement, you'll be able to give attention to some other passions of yours. It sounds like so.
Yes.
Yeah.
Some people suggest that I should offer myself as a hospice chaplain for the human race. I'm not there yet, though. I haven't gotten to the point of giving up on our survival.
Yeah. I know that's a tough one. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
Not to the point of giving up. Yeah.
No, I'm not. I'm definitely not. I'm definitely not. I know some very thoughtful people are, but I am not there.
I've
Um,
I've joked around. You'll hear me joke with colleagues, friends, family about where do I need to live to be on the one of the experiment projects to live extraterrestrially until we can habit a another moon or a rock of sorts. Put me on that one because I'm ready to leave this one behind, and all of the nonsense of it. But anyway, I'm
Yeah.
not quite there yet. But if it ever came to it, like I might be volunteering to sign up for one of those ships. And I watch some sci-fi and read some sci-fi. So,
There you go. And
yeah.
I'm old enough that I'll just be like, all right, Nick, ciao.
I'm going to hang out here with Wally, huh? Do we have to be
Yeah,
Disney if I say
we
that?
can't do a podcast if you're in Mars, but it was good to know you anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll be off terraforming.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the vision for the future, meta crisis, and how do we navigate it? I've been grokking it for. To be honest with you, Nick, I started thinking about this in the '80s.
Okay.
I read a book called The Fate of the Earth. No, that wasn't it. I did read a book called The Fate of the Earth, but that wasn't the one that threw me off. It was The End of Nature by a guy named Bill McKibben, 86-ish. And that was when I started saying, well, what do I do?
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Anyway, on to this week's
This
topic.
week. That's right. So
Yes.
it sounds like you were you took a bit of inspiration from that last meditative approach to healing, and
Yeah.
had some study and appreciation for this concept that we put in the title of today, the three faces of spirit. And so what do you have? What can you tell me, who barely maybe did some homework on it? And for anybody joining us today or listening after the fact or tuning in after the fact, what does that mean? Where does three faces of spirit come from?
In your defense, Nick, you couldn't have done any homework on it, hardly, because I didn't tell you until I think it was last night or maybe today what the title was. Okay. So the human wisdom traditions, which are the esoteric. Okay, each religion, there's a lot of nonsense with related to religion, but each of the major world religions has an inner seed that we call esoteric truth. The doctrine and the sort of formal teachings that you hear in the average church or synagogue is the exoteric. That's
Okay.
not the inner seed. That's not the inner seed. The inner seed of Christianity, Islam, Buddhism, Hindu, Confucianism, whatever else you want to mention, come down to three basic faces of spirit.
Okay.
And they didn't talk to each other for centuries, and so they had different approaches, different mindsets, which now that we're in the 21st century and we can read each other's books, and could in the last couple of decades of the 20th, we're going, oh, these can be put together in a complementary way.
Mm-hmm.
So the three faces of spirit are, and by spirit I mean source, God, if you want to call it that. I know that's a very ticklish word for some people.
Mm-hmm.
The love intelligence of the universe, that's my phrase. I also love the nature of nature. I love that phrase. You get what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah.
That which brought forth the Big Bang and has propelled evolution.
Right.
Some sort of force.
Yeah.
There's three faces. Basically, it's in our grammar: third person, second person, and first person.
Okay.
Third person is he, she, it, right?
Right.
That you remember from second grade or whatever that was. Second person is you. And first person is I, me, we.
Okay.
Yeah. And um, these esoteric traditions have like some are real big on the third person, some are real big on the second person, and some are real big on the first. We now are at the point where we can do a meditation practice which summarizes the highest um, contributions and insights of the human wisdom traditions.
Okay.
There you go. That's what
Interesting.
we're going to talk about tonight.
So
We're gonna
third,
do
second.
that in. What did you say, Nick?
Oh, I was just ingraining in my head here the ideas of these beyond the first, second, third person, what it means in the context of this spirit. So that makes sense. I'm tracking.
Addressing spirit as it,
Mm-hmm.
that. So we'll go through this real quickly. Your mind was racing along about 10 seconds ahead of what I was about to say. So
Okay.
congratulations for being that smart. So um, the three person he she he she it you and me, um, we can spend some time in contemplation in third person of the vastness of the universe.
Mm-hmm.
That's the third person. Or it doesn't even have to be the vastness, it can be the microscopic level.
Mm.
You know, interstellar space.
Mm-hmm.
The time is the thing that blows me away. I think the universe is said to be 8 billion years old. I'm not sure.
Wow. Yeah.
I could be wrong. I could be wrong. It could be that there's 8 billion people on Earth. I don't know how many billions of years, but it's billions. But the universe is old.
Yeah.
Contemplating that time, we're going to do this all in a meditation here in a little bit
Okay.
to evoke awe and undersea. Also, you can call the entire span of physical reality the cosmos with a C. But if you incorporate the interior of everything, so the feelings and the thoughts of all animals, the interior world, even of vegetation, then it's the cosmos, and that's with the K.
Okay.
So it's the vast, vast picture. He, she, it. This, and what's the it really blows your mind when you start thinking about the source of it all. Oh, I've been tossing around these phrases: source, spirit, etc. Einstein referred to it as the old one,
Okay.
which is one of my favorite phrases. Isn't that great?
The old one. Yeah.
The old one. The old one brought all this forth, and what he would say, and gave us Mozart, and gave us science.
Right.
Okay, so then that's the third,
Okay.
and then you go in your meditation, and we're going to do this, but you go in your meditation to the second person, you. So we go from contemplation of the third person to communion in the second person, in which we uh, quietly and with our hearts address as you, the old one, the spirit, the source. So at first, you could say the summarizing phrase of the third person is, it is awesome.
Okay.
And the second one, it's I love you. And this is a different wisdom tradition. I can't remember which one it is, but devotional love. What are the Hindus call it bhakti? Yeah, they call it bhakti. Bakhti. Devotional contemplation and communion with the source.
Okay.
And you just open up your heart and your spirit with humility to the other, the old one, the source. It's like, okay, now I'm not contemplating it and labeling it and thinking about it. Now I'm in direct heart to heart communion.
Mm.
And then after a while, you go to first person. I. So you say, it is awesome. I love you. And the third statement of the 3-2-1 of spirit is, I am that. So it's not the kind of, I'm always quick to point out, it's not the kind of I am God that a person says when they're in a psychiatric facility.
Right. Yeah.
because you're grounded in science and you're grounded in the knowledge that you are very brief on this planet.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're very small in the universe. You're grounded in the fact that it is awesome and I love you. But you do say I am that in the sense that I'm like a speck of the cosmic dust, but I am a speck of that cosmic dust.
Right.
Nick Davis
Mm-hmm.
is comprised of cells and atoms that have been in the universe for billions of years,
Right.
as is John Hughes, as is the people listening. Oh, we got 2 people listening. Isn't that wonderful?
Oh, nice. I see that up there. I just now noticed that.
Yeah. Hello there, listeners. Uh, so um, then when you think about I am that, each of these are undergirded by a sense of awe and humility.
Yeah.
The awe is very obvious with third person. Awe of the vastness of the universe, the vastness of time, the unfolding of evolution.
Hmm.
Second thing is I'm in awe that I can actually address the old one, the source, spirit, in a you form. I love you. And just be open. There's no words being said, but there's wordless communion.
Mm-hmm.
And then to really absorb and grok the fact that I am that, in the sense that all of this massive mystery and all of this incredible beauty and history and um, whales and sharks and oceans and jungles and forests and Mars and Jupiter, etc. I am that. I am in the first person, uh, part of the scene.
Right.
I'm a fleck of it. I'm a speck of dust of it. It ennobles you.
Yeah.
And it elevates your sense of the mystery of it all and your participation in the mystery.
Wow.
What do you think there, Nick? Your facial expression is priceless.
Ah. Well, hopefully, I don't know what that gave away. Um, yeah. Well, my first thought is I I think a lot in the third person.
Yeah.
Um, and I mean, yeah. And I think I definitely can see there's it can be very inspiring, encouraging, enlightening, whatever you want to call it. to think about this massive, and the word that comes to my mind is the miracle, um, and the wonder that comes with it, and you use the word awe.
Yes.
Um, and I can spend many of my mortal minutes of life contemplating all of that, but that may not serve this this gift of time and existence very well, thinking
Yeah.
about that. So what I'm getting and seeing as a potential here is, through this practice, through this exercise, the ability to harness a bit of that wonder, that miracle, um, for myself in a way that can be beneficial, to be integral to daily life and practice, and touch the things I put passion and heart to and love, and um, you know be a micro version of that. You know what I mean? Like, and there's the macro 80 billion-year-old universe with all the sense of wonder, but we're all just little mini versions of that as well.
Yeah.
So going from the macro to the micro, sort of, that's where my wandering thoughts are as you're explaining some of this. So
I
anyway,
love it. You do have excellent reactions to things. You're a very thoughtful person.
thank you.
You're
I
welcome.
appreciate that. I feel seen.
Oh, good, good. I love that expression. I feel seen. Yeah, every time we talk, I present something and you respond to it really beautifully. So, all right. So, Nick, are you ready to do this?
I think so. I genuinely think so. I think I'm grasping it enough. Yes.
Good, good. And I'm grasping it just enough to be able to do it. So, those two who are listening, um, you're invited to join in us. And I noticed that we have about 30 people in a 2 week span that listen to our show,
Oh,
which is nice. We'd
yeah.
like to have it be 60, but those 30 during these next couple weeks, you are invited also to join into this meditation with us and to comment below.
Yes, please.
Yes, please. All right, next. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to close our eyes 3/4 of the way. Take a deep breath in so that you can feel the oxygen flowing through your nostrils. Let it go all the way down to your diaphragm. Hold it there for a split second and then release and let it flow out of you. And let's put our hands like this, crossed over our chest, so we're feeling things in our chest, and put our tongue, the tip of our tongue, at the top of our mouth. Now you have freedom to envision what you want, but I'll invite you to envision the vast expanse of interstellar space as you're able to see it. Billions and billions of miles, light years. I heard somebody once say that there's 100, I forget, I think it was 100 million galaxies. Allow the depth of that to just sort of touch you a little bit. You could say to yourself, it is awesome. Wow. It's not just space, but it's time. It's billions of years, eons and epochs, unfolding vastness, deep space, deep time. And on this earth, our fragile island home, comes this great experiment called life. Might be on other planets too, we don't know. My thought is, why wouldn't there be? Why is the earth so exceptional? But who knows? We had this massive evolutionary leap when uh, all these unthinkable fires that was the earth for millions of years cooled enough, hardened enough, and life evolved from solid matter. That's an evolutionary leap. And from that, there was another almost miraculous evolutionary leap when mind evolved out of life. So, space, time, vastness, millions of years of fire on the earth, it cooled. Life evolved. An evolutionary leap that nature took. And then mind evolved. Another evolutionary leap that nature took. All the different minds of all the different animals. And then humanity emerged so that we got to the point that we have this one character, Einstein, who says, well, the founder of all this, the creator, is the old one. He wasn't religious in the traditional sense, but he was truly spiritual. And he said the old one was gracious enough to give us Mozart, to give us the capacity to develop Mozart's music. So we have this massive panorama that is so awesome. We can contemplate it for a long time in awe. There's the bottom, there's the depths of the sea. There's dolphins, sharks, whales, tuna. There's the aviary world. There's the forest, the beautiful forest out where you live, Nick, Northwest Forest. There's the Amazon. There's the Sahara Desert. There's the Arctic tundra. There's the Asian continent. There's North America. Some people call it Turtle Island. Third person. And there is a being, not necessarily not, you know, I'm not going to any traditional religious concept, but I'm going to some sort of source that called this forth. So we can now turn and go to, in the second person, have we ever thought of addressing this source? I'm not talking about a cheap prayer in which we ask God for a new Mercedes Benz, but I'm talking about turning and facing and being able to be irradiated with presence. You. We draw our attention with humility to you. We brought all this forth and compelled all this evolution. And our phrase here is, I love you. And we commune. And we notice. Oh, wow, we've gone our whole life without ever turning and speaking to the source. Theological arguments, theological philosophies, everything is burned away, discarded like cheap clothing, because we're facing, in the second person, you. First person is almost as miraculous as the evolutionary phase that brought us life out of matter and then mind out of life, which is, I am that. This vast cosmos, all this space, all this time, all this mystery, the top of Mount Everest, the bottom of the deepest gulch, the core of the earth, the raging fires of the sun, the stardust of the galaxy that we're in, Milky Way. We are that. We are part of that. We're not separate from it, looking like in the third person. We're not even second person now, which we're over here and the mystery is over there. This is, now we're noticing that we are cellular, atomic. We are one with all this mystery. You're struggling in life. You don't know if you're up to the challenges. And then you remember, I am that. How ennobling is that? How does that reconfigure the way you see yourself? Self-esteem almost seems like a joke at this point because you transcend that to such a powerful degree. I am that. So, third person meditation, he, she, it. Vastly awesome. It is awesome. Second person, communion with you, the old one, as Einstein called it, the source, the spirit, the love intelligence of the universe, the nature of nature. I love you. I will commune with you. And then, shockingly, first person, I am that. I am those atoms of the galaxies. How's that could I not be? I'm not separate from. I'm engulfed in the universe. I'm part of it. I'm made up of stardust. So if somebody starts coming around talking about the meta crisis, we can look at that from an exalted perspective of deep meditation as something suddenly negotiable, suddenly something that we can cope with. And that ends the meditation. You're invited, Nick, and our 3 listeners to come back to space. How are you, kind sir?
I'm good. I'm good. Yeah.
I said to a person this week, I said, how are you, kind sir? Realizing that I say that to most of my male patients. And he said, don't give me any of that bullshit.
Nice.
Classic patient reaction, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Don't give me that bullshit. Yeah.
I called him kind sir about 3 more times, and I said, I'm stuck. I'm sorry. It's my habit.
Yeah. Yeah. Now that you called me out, I'm tripling down on it.
Exactly, kind sir.
Yeah. Ah. Well, that yeah. Enjoy
No
the
pressure.
no. Just thinking of the it's a it's a I think I find the second person the most challenging
Me too.
because as I was thinking of as I was processing and you know, creating visualization of everything from the the of the third, from the cosmos to the cosmos with a K, and being very granular and macroscopic and everything in between. when I get to you, it's almost as though part of me wants to do kind of like this zooming in and out, and that little blurb of zooming in and out of all of it is you. Instead of it being like, well, which one of those things is you? Well, they all are, but then there's this you that's bigger than one thing. And so to package a you, and and I think for people who ascribe to a particular faith, have a vision of what their their God, their deity, their or
Yeah.
Christianity and Christ, like what that
Right.
looks like, even though the picture of it is very much, if you really think about it, it's been painted for them by writings, teachings, media, whatever, in some form or another, whether it be an animal, a cow, a person, um, but for me, the feeling of not wanting to single one element out, therefore I must see all. Um,
Oh,
I think I would need to practice a little bit more to and to find the image for me that says you. This is my symbol. This is my representation of
uh,
you that includes all of those things. So I don't do this panning and zooming thing, right?
I hear you. Beautiful.
And I was reminded of on Memorial Day, and it was interesting because someone else that I work with, we were talking about rainbows, how we had some really cool weather and some really vibrant rainbows recently. And it came up where I just happened to be on Memorial Day doing something outside, and there was just the right cloud and moisture in the atmosphere to where the sun was coming around a filtering of a cloud, but it created its own sort of halo of a rainbow. And I'm thinking maybe I need to create an image of that really becomes that you, the visual you, so I don't
Yeah.
have to pan and zoom. And that one just came to mind as a potential.
I like that. You're
Yeah,
chewing on it.
yeah, yeah. Um, because then when I get to the first person, surprisingly, that getting back to that miracle, and I find so much useful utility, or the utility of and I really like when you said, when you're looking for that something, or you're struggling,
Yeah.
challenged and facing difficult time, you can, this self-worth, self-esteem becomes almost silly and trivial when you think about you being not just a part of all of this the grand design, the miracle, but are you are that.
Right.
I can make that leap better.
Beautiful.
But
Beautiful.
yeah.
Yeah.
um
Well, interestingly, I have the same
yeah.
scenario. The second person's the hardest. I think this is may not be true for you, Nick, but it is true for me as a male of America in the 20th and 21st century. Intimacy is it's much easier for me than it used to be, but it's still a little bit of a hang up.
I gotcha.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
that's intimacy. That second person, I love you, you know.
Yeah.
So
Well,
that to me was what I how I interpreted my little bit of hesitating.
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, now we have three people, Nick, listening.
Interesting. Heck,
So three people. Um, if you want to say anything, um, you're invited to. You know, unless you say that we're just a pair of clowns, then it's
keep your comments to yourself. We don't
yeah.
know. We don't know if there's some. These are three trolls or, you know, AI bots that are scrubbing all of our information and likeness to recreate us. Yeah.
Exactly. Well,
Yeah.
it's something. It's a nice introduction, Nick, and it's something for us all to try again. You know, try a few times.
Yeah.
Um, the meditation that we did last week is something that I do much more often than this one,
Uh huh.
but that's not necessarily saying that it's more worthwhile or that it's better. It's just my proclivities.
Tell me real quick on meditation. I know we're kind of getting into the hour range, which we dance around a little bit, but tell me real quick. The eyes three quarters shut.
Yeah.
Is that a And again, the show my if it's a very common descriptor or technique in meditation, or is it very more typical in different styles?
Yeah, super good question. Um, I haven't read all the books on meditation, but everyone that I've read has said that.
Yeah,
Has said go with it three quarter shut. And then
yeah,
if you talk to people in person, say I'm better with it all the way closed, they say, okay. They're not
yeah.
doctrinaire about it. But
Well, yeah, I like it because it's the first thing that helps when I go back to focusing on it. It's the first thing that helps me stop with the my and again I have it worse than others. I think I've talked about my little ADHD brain, which is it makes for meditation struggling, but the wandering thoughts of different different things that come through my mind. But as soon as I start thinking, oh, focus on that on your eyelids and being three quarters, not all the way, but not open. And I actually noticed that it does shut down some of that noise that's going through my brain.
yeah, beautiful.
Um, it's
That's good.
it's
Yeah.
because you have to be. It becomes intentional on that versus whatever my thoughts are running around about. So yeah.
Mhm.
So I didn't know if there were certain meditation approaches that really emphasize that.
Yeah, I'll tell you, the first time I read it was in a book called Zen Mind, Beginner's Mind by Shunryu Suzuki. It was the first book on Zen Buddhism that I ever read.
Hmm,
It's considered a classic. Hey, this was San Francisco. He founded Tassajara Monastery
yeah.
and Zen,
All right.
which is there, and also San Francisco Zen Center, I think it's called.
Oh, okay.
It's the most legendary Zen meditation place in America.
I'm Yeah. Okay. The Buddhist temple there, huh?
I don't know if it's
Or
a Buddhist temple. You could look up San Francisco Zen Center.
oh, okay. It looks like they have three temples in the greater Bay Area. So, but yeah, it's a network of Beginner's Mind Temple. So that's at and then Tassajara Zen Mountain Center,
Yeah,
and then Green Gulch Farm Center, Zen
I've
Center.
heard of that place too. This is all hippie haven.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that nice.
I've never been there.
Hippie Haven. That's funny.
Yeah.
Um, the Ram Dass Hangout Center. Yeah,
Oh yeah. Is that
I
one?
I was I no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Um, I was thinking of this once had somebody was talking about different things and they mentioned Ram Dass and I think Ram Dass has a podcast or something possibly, but yeah.
Yeah. He coined the phrase "be here now."
Yeah, that's it. Be here now. And yeah, yeah. So anyway, that made me think of the hippie centers in San Francisco. So
It would.
yeah.
It would.
A bit in
Well,
the psychedelic realm too. I think. If I'm no,
yes,
I didn't live
indeed.
that, but I believe there was a lot of that. So yeah,
I think so too. Yeah.
yeah. So well, cool. I like this practice, this meditation today. I really
Beautiful.
it,
Beautiful.
and I just in the time I did a little homework and learning, and I can definitely say that there is a bit of a journey and experience to kind of awaken and cultivate with this idea of the three faces of spirit. And I really think it crosses cultural divides too, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
Um, no matter what your flavor of spirituality or
Right.
spirit is. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's
It,
cool.
it, the Buddhist meditation is more first person. The Christian is there's some second, but there's a lot of third
Yeah,
describing them, coming up with stuff. But mixing them all together is just a really beautiful and elegant way to do it,
yeah,
and equips us to evolve in order to deal with the meta crisis, which we have to
right,
do.
right. And I think it's a little and while it's a bit more abstract, when you were first kind of talking about this idea of the three faces of spirit, and this different persuasions of
Yeah,
spirituality or religion, what came to my mind was initially this common ground, which I think is more of the teaching and principles of religions, which, while useful, um, is a good place of commonality, common space, which I think of, the tenets of being a good human being,
yeah,
um,
yeah,
having a compass that says, here's where you're guided to do well in your life and existence, and be kind to others, and really there's those common areas of it. But I think this takes it a little bit further to saying that at the source of it all is really a spirit. um, and yes, all those tenets or principles are common in every religion, but even more common is the fact that there is a spirit, if you will, a soul, and a relationship that exists with spirit, soul, and the macro down to the micro level. So yeah,
and cultivating practice, a practice of cultivating awareness of it. That's what I'm trying to say.
yeah,
Yeah, to equip you.
and that's what it's all about.
Amen. All right, young man.
Really
Shall we
cool.
call it a
We
night?
shall on this weeknight. I think we should be good to go, and back on our weekend sort of routine here in a couple weeks. So
You know what?
for everybody tuning in, thank you so much. Go ahead. I'm sorry. You yes.
I won't be here on a Saturday in 2 weeks. We should probably do it on Monday or Tuesday because I'll be in Kentucky.
Oh, well, we'll hash that out. Excellent.
Yeah, we'll hash it out. But for our friends that are watching, it will be roughly 2 weeks. Peace
Excellent. All right. Thank you all. All
to
right.
be with. Nice to be with you all. Bye bye.
Peace. Thanks, John. Bye.